A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend. ChristiTutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with thelibertybeacon.com. And I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Lenard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the show, everyone. With me today is Stephanie Lee. Probably be the only time I actually mention her name because AKA Lady Redneck, which I want to get in depth in that as we go. But first, the obvious background stuff, right? I seen from Michael with MTS Management Group, the notations.
Yeah, he's good. He takes good care of us.
Yeah. Well, I told him didn't talk to him. We've emailed back and forth quite a bit, and I was saying, I've had quite a few of your singer-songwriters on. I think I may be having too many, but I gotta have you.
Awesome. Fabulous.
But I see in the notation layout of the background press release, born in Idaho, raised. Where all have you been? Where are you now? Let's get into that nitty gritty first.
Okay, yeah. I grew up in Idaho. Literally, the town that I was raised until I was 12 was population 23. It was called Idaho. Yeah, we had like a little stoplight, and there was a store open when they wanted it to be. So it was like, imagine a show like Little House on the Prairie. It was kind of like that feeling of just like the purity, just the simplistic lifestyle where we grew up like rodeos. We grew up, just family horses and a few friends, and that's kind of it. So that's how I grew up until I moved to the big city of Idaho Falls when I was in junior high, and and then I went off. I went to college, BYU Idaho, and then I went on a mission for my church for a year and a half, and then I've lived in the Philippines, Arizona, and now I'm in North Dallas, Texas. I love it.
Everything's bigger in Texas, right? As they say.
It's so true. Yeah. Literally everything. It's awesome here.
Regarding your little town, also as the saying goes, it can be better to be a big fish in a small pond.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are very few fishes there.
Now, Idaho. I was going to joke, Oklahoma, but no. Idaho. Are there any Idaho songs, or hint, might you do an Idaho song? Or maybe you should just call the Idaho potato people and do a jingle for them.
I probably should. My dad, actually, he's quite the songwriter, and he wrote a song called Idaho Swing, because I grew up in a really musical family, and we did like the fair circuit and like weddings, corporate events, all those shows and stuff. But yeah, we actually recorded Idaho Swing, and it was we sold, one of our CDs sold like 40,000, and Idaho Swing was on there. So there is an Idaho song out there, and it's really good.
That's good. I had no idea when I was going down that road, but I'm glad I joked about it. So the next thing is kind of obvious, I guess. Now, like J.D. Vance has his Hillbilly elegy book. It was met with rave reviews. They made a movie, but of course, now that he's running for vice president, they're back to trying to make hillbilly a slur. Redneck, often people use as a slur. So I'm glad to see you wearing it loud and proud, making it Yeah, making it a positive again. But how did that come about?
Yeah, that's a great question. We on my very first album, when I first started recording my own stuff, it was like in 2016, and I was doing a song called "We're All a Little Rednecky Inside." It's called "Rednecky Inside," and it just talks about how we all have our own little like redneck things, like and so the song talks quite a bit about it. But while I was singing it, my husband and producer were in there, and they were like, "Man, she's like a redneck Maryland, or like a lady redneck." And when they said that, they were in there just laughing, and I came walking in and they're laughing away, and I was like, "What's so funny?" And they're like, and they told me, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm Lady Redneck." And it just kind of stuck from then on. So started out, but it actually kind of fits me, because I mean, the name really fits like my personality, because I'm very much a lady in every sense of the word, and but I am one of those ladies that loves to jump on the four-wheeler and play in the dirt and shoot guns and do all the fun stuff too, and skin a deer and, just do different things like that as well. I'm really down to earth. So I felt like it was a good way to describe who I was. So.
Yeah, I think there's an obvious segue, but before I get to that, so I don't forget, for those looking behind the scenes on BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, and YouTube, mainly this airs on 20 audio platforms, but I do put the video out there for those who like video. I prefer video myself, but you don't want to be watching a video while you're in your car, though. But to set the scene, I want to mention that you've got the Braveheart behind you.
Oh yeah, I do. I got Braveheart and Christ and music over here. Freedom.
The obvious segue is, have you ever met with, and maybe you should be on tour with, Jeff Foxworthy, right? You might be a redneck if.
Yeah, that'd be fun. He's awesome. He's super funny. That would be
great. If you ever write a book, he has to write the foreword for it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And if you ever do consider writing a book, one of my books is How to Write a Book and Get It Published. That can help you write and publish your book.
That's awesome. Very cool. Good to know.
But at any rate, the regular listeners know you as a podcaster, you got to avoid the ahs and the ums. And I started saying "at any rate" over and over, which is a bad crutch. So now I say it on purpose as a joke, laughing at myself. So at any rate, a child of Gobstoppers. I mean, a child of God song. Yeah. Well, before we get to the song, since I joked about Gobstoppers, what's your favorite candy?
I'm not as much of a candy person as I am like dark chocolate. I am obsessed with dark chocolate, and it is my thing. And especially if it has some like peppers, like cayenne in it, or something like hot. I love like literally hot chocolate. So
that's interesting. I bet you were never asked that on any other show.
No.
Like I say, I like to avoid the same old kind of boring stuff that they can get others. But back to seriousness, indeed. The single "A Child of God," and that's great. I'm glad. I made a note to mention it's a child of God, not a child of church, because there is a big difference. It's a shame, and one of the reasons why I started this Christian show, many churches have become worldly, not biblical. They are more humanitarian clubs than an actual Church of Christ anymore. So tell us about why you felt compelled to record "A Child of God."
Yeah, I'm actually really glad that you said that, because you're exactly right. And I think one of the reasons that I felt compelled is because there's so many people especially today, that struggle with their self-esteem, they struggle with anxiety, they struggle with knowing who they are and where they fit in. And it's actually one of the most beautiful messages that you can tell somebody is you have a purpose. You are divine. You have a royal heritage. You are literally a child of God. Do you even know what that means? Like, I just feel like if there's a way that I could really cement that in somebody's soul to really have, know who they are, they would feel so much love. They would feel so much peace. They would feel all of those things that come with God's love, just as being part of his family.
Yeah.
So that was why I wrote it.
And part of Michael's write-up, I'm going to read, it says, the song's message is universal, intended to inspire listeners to recognize their own value as individuals cherished by God. And I think that is key and important. I discuss over and over on this show, and even in my terrorism books, I have a suicide prevention sub-theme in there.
That's awesome.
Every life has value and meaning. If you don't recognize it all the time, doesn't mean it's not there, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And going into this a little bit deeper, like I have some family members and close friends that struggle with depression, and I know, like, even with a chemical balance, sometimes it's hard to feel and it's hard to understand some of that. And so even when you share messages like this, sometimes they may not even feel or understand it. But I just feel, if there's a way that it can heal, because the word of God and the power of God can heal. It can heal hearts. It can heal broken homes. It can heal just so many things. And so if there's a way to reach, reach, and what you were saying about like the suicide prevention, I love that you do that, because it's so important. We all are our brother's keeper, and we need to, when we get a message or a feeling in our heart that we need to reach out to somebody, we need to do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, brother's keeper, because again, ChristiTutionalist politics, I get into the politics of the Bible that unfortunately a lot of the worldly churches now try to avoid, because there is a difference between biblical community, where is voluntary, and we are asked by God, by Jesus, to be our brother's keeper. We are given free will, though, versus worldly communism, which is forced. That there's a major difference there. So, before I forget again, also, I want to joke about the Braveheart thing, since obviously you're a big Braveheart fan. And a future album, I want a freedom tribute to Braveheart song. Tribute to
the problem that, and I have a very strong love for freedom, a very strong opinion about freedom. I get in trouble. I've got in trouble on social media expressing some of my views on freedom and how important it is to me. And so, yes, I've actually written a couple of songs. I released one of them, but people are really divided right now. And in fact, I did country music before, and one of the reasons that I even went to Christian music, besides the fact that God turned my heart that way, was I was starting to think about how much division and contention there was, and I was like, I wouldn't bring light to the world. I don't want to bring more contention. And so, so I think that was part of why God, molding my heart to do what he wants, wants more light and love out there. So but I am a freedom-loving, absolutely girl, 100% of the way.
You've got to be you, and you definitely should be a voice. And we are on the highway to hell right now, it seems, at 250 miles an hour, with no sign of slowing down, let alone doing a U-turn back. So biblical light, like I say, community versus the darkness of forced communism, it matters. So I'm glad you've written that, and you definitely should preach it. We are near the abyss. We've got to get turning back, or we're right. We know how it ends. We know Revelation, but at the same time, if we don't do something to prevent the evil and the darkness. We are complicit in that. Is that a statement do you agree with that? Yes.
I really do agree, and I think that's one of the things. I think a lot of people don't know what to do or don't know how to speak out. But even just sharing on social media, hey, I believe in God, and there's a division. People are outwardly proclaiming and worshiping Satan at concerts, on TV, like it's all over the place. And people are going one way or the other. So I think if we just say, hey, Christ is real. Christ was resurrected and he rose again from the dead. And this is a beautiful gospel. And there's so much here. And this is real, guys. God is real. I just think by sharing even that message, then it helps with, helps get the word out a little bit as far as, just getting them to commit one way or the other, because I've noticed this is a really interesting thing. The people that love freedom are usually quite often love God and love Christ.
Because it's biblical. We were given free will. We are meant to be free beings.
Yeah. But even with Moses, with the Israelites, as soon as they became free, it was really hard because they were used to being in captivity. They were used to having that. But freedom is key to God's plan. It's free to our happiness, because we need our free agency to grow and to become our greatest potential and become more like him. So
stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ed Bondarenka, and I host Your American Heritage on Saturdays at 2 in the afternoon on this station. Your American Heritage is a show about the struggle we find ourselves in and how to react to it in the light of our biblical and American heritage. Listen to it while you're working around the house, the garage, cleaning the guns, walking the dog, driving, or just lazing around. Join me at 2 o'clock Saturdays here on Wham Radio, 1600 AM, 92.7 FM.
God bless America.
Amen. I'm glad. Again, like I say, I don't script shows. I just kind of go with the flow, and the rabbit holes open up. So I don't know how it'll turn out when I open up those can of worms, but I'm glad I did.
Once I get going about that stuff, it's hard to get me to stop.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is 2 Chronicles 7:14. Pray, heal, or turn from wicked ways, I shall hear and heal your land. People want to gloss over the turn from wicked ways part. That means you, me, we all have to at least attempt to turn the nation from the wicked ways. God will hear and help. He's not saying I will wave a magic wand. I will help, but we all, like our founding documents say, we the people in big bold letters have to get off our butts, off our couches and do things, and God will favor us and help, but not just do everything for us. And people miss that part.
Amen to that too. And it is kind of scary how dark and how wicked the world's become. And I had read this statement the other day that just talked about how confusing people of truth, and so they don't even know the difference, and then they'll follow anybody. And I feel like we're to that degree, but God is truth and his word is truth. And so if we can just share his message, I think that it helps. His message alone helps turn people away from sin, helps turn people away and of the darkness that's going on right now. But you're right, we need to turn away from it, and whatever we can do to do that, we need to take a stand and do that. And I think a lot of people just don't know what to do, but I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is an easy step. No, well, it's a step. I'm not going to say an easy step, but it's a step that we need.
Yeah, one of my shows, one of my articles, and a chapter in one of my ChristiTutionalist politics books is dedicated to, is prayer alone enough? And I use 2 Chronicles as the example. Yes, we should pray, but shall be known by fruits. You must sow to reap. If you don't do actions, you are complicit in the bad fruit. You are complicit in the evil. And you already mentioned you grew up in a musical family, as did I, although Ted Leonard Jr. and the Polka Kings. So it was my dad's band, and my dad's dad had a band, and my ma sung in the choir and all that. I wrote and recorded music. It toyed with it when I was young. Never got a record deal though, so that ended. But I see you've got me beat. I used to play guitar, drums, keyboards, and the trumpet. Tell us about all the instruments you play.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not many more than you, but yeah, I play the guitar and the bass guitar, the piano, the violin. I play it fiddle style as well as classic violin, and then the mandolin, the ukulele. So yeah, lots of the drums, lots of fun instruments.
which really helps to lay down the demo before going into the studio.
Absolutely.
How
Saves
you
me a lot of
want
money.
it. Yeah. Whereas someone who's just a vocalist is like, I've got this sound in my head, but I can't really put it out. You're not as dependent then on others. Your music is really, indeed, truly, purely all you. Nothing wrong with collaborations, of course.
Absolutely. But yeah, it really is, and I feel like it's a blessing, because then my soul and my heart really comes out of the music, because we do it exactly like Brad Davis, who is my producer. He's an amazing producer, but he listens to what I want, and so because I'll write all the music, I'll have it all in Nashville number system when I bring it, and I'll have a demo scratch, and then we usually, as we're talking, collaborate, and the ideas that flow are just amazing. So it's amazing. We'll be like, oh, we should throw this in, or we should do this, and it makes it really, really fun. But then, like, just being able to do it the way that I want is awesome, because I can usually hear exactly how I want it in my head, even though we usually come up with better ideas. It's great to be able to do it the way that feels right and resonates in my heart.
Right. But yeah, somebody might come up with an idea that you didn't think of that. Ooh, I love that. Yeah, let's do that instead, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my guest today has been Lady Not a Bad Thing Redneck.
Exactly. Thank you.
Legally Stephanie Lee. So the last obvious question, where do people find you? Do you have a website or those sorts of things? You mentioned Facebook.
Yeah, my biggest following is on Facebook, but if you just Google my name up, I'm sure a lot of different places will show up, because I'm on pretty much every social media platform. And then I do have a couple of websites, and on my profiles and my social media, if you just click on there, it'll take you right to the website, and I've got specials going on all the time. If you join my emails, I'll send out emails all the time, and they're just fun. I try to give discounts, give away some free music, and just kind of share a little bit of my heart of what's going on in my life, and it's fun. It's good.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. I try to keep the show short. I try to make them a little jovial and different. I also try to keep them short, because if they get too long, I don't want to spend 60 minutes. 30 minutes they might, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck with the sales. Take care. God bless.
God bless you too. Thanks so much.
Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Oh, even though if you could see on behind the scenes video, my shirt says, if you don't like it, just leave. Well, I hope you like this. You've made it this far into this episode, so I'm guessing you do like it. But at any rate, Lady Redneck wrote a little ditty for me. I will be attaching it right after I say again, thank you all, take care, and God bless.
Stand up for what is right, 'cause God shares his message every day and night. Believes in freedom and making his voice heard, sharing his message over all the earth. God loves you for all you do. Stand strong and God bless you.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strike, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, no fancy high production intro or insert, at least yet, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help to grow the show.
Just wanted to give a brief shout out and thank you to all the folks on iHeartRadio and Player FM for being 2 in the top 3 platforms that my show, ChristiTutionalist Politics, is most often listened to. So thank you all. Take care. God bless.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.